Another night in the WNBA where you think you have something good. You think the product is starting to come around, and you decide for yourself that it's the same nonsense over and over and over and over. And this league cannot have good things. This league cannot have good things. And what happens yesterday? The suspension gets handed down for inappropriate comments made by a head coach, and Angel Reese is beside it and behind it. And here we go. Another. Just, I don't even know where to begin on this day. I don't even know where to begin on this day because it's almost as though I feel we're getting to the point right now where this league, it's become an absolute critical joke. And by the way, Sunday edition of On Cue, Rich Quinones here. We're firing off on the two channels, Caribbean Deportes Talk, as well as my Rich Q on Q channel. Happy Sunday to all. Let's get in on the conversation. So this is what transpired over the weekend, which, oh, by the way, it overshadows another nice win by Indiana and a great performance by one Kelsey Mitchell, which we don't want to gloss over. But the league itself shows you one more time that it's an absolute joke. Toronto Tempo coach Sandy Brondello suspended by the league without pay for one game Saturday for an inappropriate comment she made regarding Angel Reese of the Atlanta Dream. And I said this, and I've been saying this in nauseum. I feel like this league is that person we all know in our life, like no matter what, they can have good things, they can be very happy, and yet they're going to self-sabotage it every time we turn around. This is about the placating that I talk about. This is the nonsense that I talk about, why the leadership in this league absolutely is void, absolutely sucks. It's just absolutely clueless. There's no way on God's green earth that you should suspend that head coach. I'm sorry. I don't agree with it at all. In fact, I'm going to take it a different direction too today. I want you guys to get in early and often. I understand we are in such a sensitive time. I understand that every little thing is going to be under the microscope and it's going to be magnified. But this woman, by all accounts, is an extremely respectful individual. This woman has the respect of a lot of teams and a lot of leagues. And the fact that you make the comment, she made the comment that she made, and I believe it is taken out of proportion. I really do. I believe the comment was taken out of proportion, and I think it's been way blown out of proportion. The protective species, I understand the racial overturns and the sensitivity in this country. I totally get it, and I'm not giving her a pass because she works or she is Australian, but I chuckled when I heard it, and then when I actually went back and I listened to the comment, and I'm going to play it in a couple moments too. When I listened to the comment, I kind of was like, oh. And then you hear her follow up say, and she knows it. And this stems from the foul that was called. And again, we know about the theatrics in the WNBA. We know all about the theatrics in the WNBA. And it's just, think about this. You watched the game the other day, and the broadcast picked up that she was addressing the officials after Nyara Sabally went down with an injury following contact with Angel Reese. She was called for the foul. And Sandy Brondello could be heard on the hot mic basically referring to Angel Reese with a phrase that sounded like protected species. Now, when you hear it, it's almost like kind of laugh like, yeah, you want to protect them. You don't want to harm them. You don't want to do anything like that. So, of course, Angel Reese, and again, listen, I'm not faulting players. This is not, at this point, like we can sit there and say certain players want to cause drama, theatrics, the SS, the shit stirs, whatever. She tweets out, are we surprised? Well, obviously, the league catches wind of that because she tagged the head coach. And Brondello, who's from Australia, has coached the national team since 2017. And a lot of people are coming out saying, hold on, that basically means, you're expressing frustration over a lack of calls against a player and the player's being treated or officiated differently than others. So by the league turning around and suspending her, which is an absolute joke after she profusely apologized, tells me the league is protecting Angel Reese in that regard. Like, it just makes no sense. It's to the point right now where it's just laughable. It's laughable. It really is. She should not have to, you want to apologize, but the league should not come down and suspend her. And by the way, we're firing off on both channels, Caribbean Deportes Talk, but I always want you guys to kind of keep it locked in here on Rich Q on Q. Get in on the conversation, comment, and like, subscribe, share. We got you for a while on this Sunday morning. World Cup, by the way, at 3 o'clock, Argentina and España. Last night, the Fever did get the win. Mitchell was just phenomenal. Indiana's defense still stinks. But it just shows you had a great night on Friday night. A great night on Friday night in the league. And then where are we? Where are we? We're at this nonsense. We're at this nonsense today. We can't even enjoy it. We can't even sit here and say, oh man, the league's really, really making a good push. Let's enjoy it. We have some good quality of play. You saw 45-10. You saw Mitchell go off. And then here we go. It's utterly ridiculous that the league suspends this head coach who apologized sincerely and profusely, but it speaks to the clown show that is the WNBA. It really does. And it's really not about the player. You know Angel Reese is a physical player. You know Angel Reese is a little bit of a shit stirrer. Angel Reese is extremely opinionated. She's still immature. She took offense to it. Okay, I get it. I really do. But this woman really apologized. She was genuine about it. And this is what happened now. Now you get this divide. So explain to me in one breath how the league can allow Thomas to basically punch Caitlin Clark in the throat, and you got to wait to upgrade it to a flagrant 2, 24 to 48 hours. 24 to 48 hours to suspend her. But right away, because a player tweets offense to something that really, at the end of the day, I don't know, it didn't, I get it, but I don't. Maybe I'm missing something, right? I mean, maybe I'm missing something. And then all of a sudden they decide like that on a whim to suspend a head coach who is a very respected head coach. Who is a very respected head coach. And then you get the player coming out calling the head coach clown. But the league's not going to do anything about that. And I told you, I like Angel Reese. I think she's a good player. She's having a phenomenal year. But this is the stuff we talked about, why the league will never, ever, ever, ever be taken serious. This is the stuff we talked about where we can get into the black, the white, the race issues. We can get into straight gay. We can get in whatever we want to get into. That's fine. It's fine. But ultimately, like I said, man, I just, now all of a sudden you got to have a scheduled meeting between players and the commissioners next week, right? Now she's going to serve her suspension Monday. Toronto hosts Aces. She's not going to be available. She's in her first season. She had 8 years at the helm with Phoenix. She had 4 in New York. She won a championship with both teams. So, pardon me. I mean, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? And I'm not going to sit here and say attack the player. No. Pardon me, I'm not. Because there's already enough idiots out there. Like, I'm not, don't go after the... No, listen, the player is going to say what the player is going to say. The player is going to tweet what the player is going to tweet. And you've got a very polarizing figure since joining the league in 2024. And this is only going to fuel the masses. This is only now going to make, the haters come out. And they're going to fire off even worse. They're going to fire off even worse. Like, and this is why I think some things... I'm not saying let certain things slide, but man, everybody in this society, everyone, especially in this friggin' league, they all want to do the gotcha moment. And that is a big time problem. They all want to do the gotcha moment. Good morning back to you, Maria. Good to hear from you. Got a lot of comments already coming in. We'll get to them. And to me, the gotcha moment, it's just I'm over this nonsense. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm really over this nonsense. To me, this league just went nuclear. It just went nuclear, suspending this head coach, because now you're going to have more of a divide. And oh, by the way, one of our former players came out and defended her. One of her former players came out, and I've never heard that term before, protected species, in a sports analogy, in layman's terms, in a sports conversation. I've never heard it before. I've never, ever heard it before. But it's an absolute joke that they're suspending her. It's an absolute joke. There is worse said player to player on the friggin' floor. Worse stuff said player to player on the friggin' floor. And are these players getting suspended? getting in the girls of the officials. I said this yesterday, and some people are hammering me. Last night, I'm calling the fights remotely, and I got one eye on my second monitor. Between rounds, I'm watching the game. I'm watching the Liberty and the Fever play. And like every other call, again, the bitch and whining and complaining. Every other call. And, I've really only caught the last 5 to 6 in the third, then in the fourth, because I had to go back on the air. And we have a couple breaks between broadcasts and fights. But every other call, it was an offensive call. It was an offensive charge. It was going the other way. It was a physical game. It was sloppily played at times. It really was. It wasn't like a clean game. It was one of the worst officiating games I've seen this season. And then Friday, you had a great officiating game. Go figure. Go figure. So you're trying to get through that game, and you're seeing Mitchell go off, and you're seeing another nice one by Indiana, right? Starting to flex their muscle a little bit. And then what transpires after Friday night? The league coming down right away without even thinking twice, firing, shooting before they look, and they're suspending the head coach, who apologized profusely. Profusely. And I'm not going to sit here and say maybe people don't have the context to understand or how to interpret it, or maybe it's interpreted negatively, so you react against social media right away. You react. And the league has to step in because they're trying to placate friggin' everyone, which goes to the lack of leadership from the commissioner, Humperdinck, Kathy Engelbert, and then you suspend the coach right away. I'm sorry, man. That's a joke. That's the league going nuclear. That is, again, inmates running the asylum. And the warden has no clue what the hell is going on. And all the player did, and I hate to say it, is just stoke the fire again. And she now is going to have more hate at her. Now, again, don't be like that. Don't do that. But that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. Profusely apologize, and you're still going to suspend her. Why? Come on. I'm telling you, it's players want the spotlight. Players, let's just call for what it is. There are players in certain leagues, and I don't care what background, where you came from. I call them shit stirrers. I call them SS. Sometimes I say it with the commenters on the air. You want to stir the pot. SS. And again, we're going to get to the comments. Happy Sunday, everyone. On cue, Rich Quinones here. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Share as well. Keep it all respectful. Let's debate. Let's have fun. Do you agree with the WNBA's decision to suspend this head coach? I want to hear from you. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I think it's ludicrous. She apologized profusely because you can't fine her because someone's going to scream for suspension. Period. And you got the SS's, right? The shit stirrers in the league. Angel Reese is one of them. And I've said this before. I went on record. I said it yesterday. I like Angel Reese. I think she's a hell of a player. I think she's somewhat a little volatile, a little SS, right? She wants to go against grain, but she now becomes the villain. She embraces that role. And I also think there's going to be more backlash directed at her because of this. And the problem is we are such a reactionary. Humans are so reactionary. They're so emotional. So right away something happens and they got to scream at the mountaintop. They got to respond. They got to reply. They got to tweet. They got to go on Facebook. They got to scream at someone. They got to pick up the phone. Like sometimes you got to just sit there and say, protected species. Oh. And the funny thing is I'm going to play it. I'm going to play the clip. I want you guys to let me know what you think. I'm going to play it. But I'm telling you, I just, for the life of me, this is what happens, right? This is why this league is really frustrating as hell. Because Thomas, in essence, punches Clark in the throat. And at that moment, turn a blind eye. But because there was such pushback, blowback on social, all over TV, the talking heads, that's when the pressure filters down or up to the commissioner. So then she's got to make the decision, and she does. And oh, by the way, because Adam Silver had to push it, think about that. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver had to push her to do that. But they wait a day later. This just happens and boom, reactionary, suspended. After she apologized, after Dawn Staley comes out and says sincere apology, after a former player of hers basically said it is not a divisive, rude, racist comment. It's not, it shouldn't be, it's not derogatory. And look, it was the first time I ever heard it used in that vein, in sports wise. And then I was kind of laughed like, yeah, man, they protect at all costs. They don't, players are going to get, they're going to be protected. You're not going to tag them with fouls, right? All right, let me see what you guys have to say. You agree? You disagree? Is this much ado about nothing, totally blown out of proportion, or it just validates my point that this league is a friggin' joke? Maria chimes in. I call BS. I looked up the definition. Nothing wrong with it. David chimes in. It's Australian slang. It's not racial. That's exactly what I heard. And I know she's Australian. And I know, again, for other players have said the same thing, right? Tanya T, good to hear from you. Good morning, chat. So sad to hear this about Sandy. Angel's drama. She's always been that drama. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's not even about the drama, right? It's about using social media, the platform, and then being dramatic to get or convey your message, which, again, is going to spark what? Controversy, which now forces, you can't have a player of her stature who's playing really well, an all-star, having a really good season, right? Having a really good season, and then she goes on there. She's a marketable face. She's a familiar face within this league, and then she tweets it out at the coach and hits with a clown face, right? There's no rhyme or reason to how the league is being run. That is a problem. Unadulterated truth. Good to hear from you. Good morning. Got to give some pushback. Okay, Thomas is not a dirty player, in my opinion. But for that play to use punch and throat in the same sentence is incendiary. Come on, you cover boxing. I guess we'll split hairs on that, brother. And I appreciate what you're saying. I'm not claiming she's a dirty player, but it looked like it was a dirty shot to me. So can we meet you halfway, right? And I call fights. I've been doing it for 20 years. But I've also seen, BS on the floor in basketball. So I never claimed she was a dirty player, but you can have a dirty action, right? But I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate it as always, brother. You're entitled to that. You know that. That being said, the play was not a basketball move and should have been a flagrant for sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I guess, listen, I guess my point is this. My argument is this. Why does it take the league 24, 48 hours to then lay down the heavy, lay down the hammer, lay down the suspension because of the blowback on social media? But then yesterday, the league doesn't even hesitate. The league doesn't even wait. Do you understand what I'm saying? That to me, isn't that almost like discriminatory? Think about it. Like, it doesn't sit right with me. It just doesn't sit right with me. It really doesn't. Like, bang. All of a sudden, boom. We're going to make the decision. And she went out and she apologized profusely. But we can't have nice things. So you sit there on Friday night, the game, the ink isn't even dry on a Friday night, and the broadcast picks it up, and I'm going to play it, and you guys tell me. Because, a lot of people will say, it's not what you said, it's how you say it. So I'll let you guys decide. I posted it on the channel as well, and a lot of you guys, and girls, commenters, turned around and said that it's ridiculous. What are we even talking about? Right? Right? Come on. Thomas did punch Caitlyn in the throat. We all saw it. Miss me with the gaslight. That's another term. The gaslighting. The gaslighting, right? Loss not found. Remember, you guys just be respectful. Let's hear what the black player will say to the white player. Listen, and just be respectful in the feed, man. We're raw, we're unfiltered, we're passionate, we want to debate, we want to get into it. I've heard worse on the floor. But to your point, and I got to play devil's advocate because this is what we do on the show. This is what I do on the air. It's my style. It's my nature. And it's certainly not to come off as combative. And I think you guys know that. But if there's a African-American head coach or I don't know, an Asian head coach or a Spanish head coach, a Latino head coach, and Caitlin Clark's kicking and screaming, and one of the coaches on a hot mic sitting there saying, "There you go, she's a entitled Karen." I mean, or white girl gets all the calls. What's the uproar? What's the uproar? I really don't think the comment she made was to be hurtful, especially knowing where she's from. Now I get it. We're not playing these games in Australia. But I don't know. We are so uberly sensitive. We really are. We're uberly sensitive, and it goes back to, if you've ever gone to a sporting event or near the floor or courtside, man, you know what is being said. It's unreal. And here's the one issue I have, and the concern I have going forward. The concern I have going forward is, because if Angel Reese really didn't understand, or to interpret that it wasn't a harmful, but if she felt it was, I can't tell anyone how to think or feel. I can't. Because it's a figure of speech, protective species, right? And you have a former player come out and basically say it is a figure of speech. I see nothing suspension worthy with it, right? I get the species is kind of like the touchy feel. It's an unfortunate word, man. I totally understand that. But we also are in a country that is racially charged, right? Racially charged. But my question is, and just hear me out for a minute, if something to that vein is said about a Cunningham or a Caitlin Clark, is there going to be uproar? Is there going to be outrage? Is there going to be outrage? That's all I'm asking. I think it's been way blown out of proportion. She apologized. You want to hit her fine. You want to sit there and say, look, you have to take sensitivity, which I still think is a joke, but don't suspend her. Players have done far worse on the friggin' floor, and that hasn't warrant of suspension. It's because of the climate the league is in right now. That's what's so perplexing. And it just shows you right away, man, we got to jump. We got to jump so fast. So Hoodie says, I'm an idiot, and I'm out of touch. Okay. I mean, you want to provide context to that? I appreciate the opinion. And you guys can comment all you want. Like I said, you want to take it out on me today, but if you think I'm an idiot, that's not a problem at all. And you think I'm out of touch. I mean, I've been doing this a minute. Am I out of touch? Do you even know my background? You know where I was born, how I was raised? Do you know anything about me? None. But you want to call me an idiot? It's all good, bro. No problem. Keep it rolling. We're all good. She should have not apologized because she just made it worse. Just gives the dum-dums more ammunition. Anytime they want to cry for something that was not offensive. Yeah. Like I said, what is that? Hoodie, Howdy Kush, basically says, I'm an idiot. I don't take offense to it. I think a fine would have been more appropriate. I tend to agree. But if you want to argue with me, right? I mean, just be respectful. That's fine. You got, don't call my listeners idiots. You can come at me all you friggin' want, but you got to state your case. You just don't like what I'm saying because you're sensitive. But I'm sorry. She should not be suspended. It's a friggin' joke. It's a joke. It really is. And it proves once again, the league is not run by the commissioner. The league is run by players. That is a problem. That is a player. You've got a handful of players in this league that dictate exactly how the league should be run. That is inmates running the asylum. And don't confuse the term inmates. Don't even throw that shit at me because you're going to be friggin' clueless and you got to stay in your little lane of narrow-mindedness. You can't have prisoners running amok. You can't. The warden's got to take control. You know the expression. So don't pull it out of context, okay? You've got a league right now that's on shaky ground. You had Mitchell going off last night. You had another great moment. You got games today. You had Clark with 45 and 10. But don't sit there for one friggin' moment and tell me if someone turned around and called Caitlin Clark a little white diva or a little white Karen or a little entitled little white girl, and it's caught and it's a minority head coach or, I don't know, a coach from Australia, there's going to be outrage. People are going to laugh it off. Telling the truth. They made their point. Yeah. And by the way, because the league suspended the coach, they're basically saying that the player's protected. I mean, come on, man. You guys do better. Do better. I get it. The word it's offensive to some. Okay. There's certain words that we don't like. There's certain words I don't like. There's certain slang, derogatory terms that are not appropriate. But come on, man. You know what's said on the floor? You know what's said in locker rooms? You know how much trash talk God knows what the hell they're saying on the floor that we're not even privy to. The problem now is what's going to happen. And this is, I'm telling you where this league is going. I'm telling you exactly where this league is going. This league is now, it's starting to turn into this, it's getting to the point where it is almost like the glorified Saturday YMCA at the POW. Guys just talking friggin' trash, just wanting to get in girls and forgetting about why they're there and playing ball. Because what happens, God forbid, because we know it's coming, if a player says something to another player and all they do is what? All they do is what? They turn around and maybe they take a swing. Maybe they turn around and here we go. Maybe it bleeds into, the crowd. You see how close they are to these games? And then it's a free-for-all, like a Malice at the Palace, man. You sit there, she apologized, you pull Angel Reese to the side. Angel, it's not that big of a deal. It's words, man. But again, you can't tell someone how to think or how to feel. And we've all been there. We probably have had certain slurs slung at us. I know I have. It doesn't bother me, man. You grow out of that. You grow thick skin. Even when I was doing this early on in my career, I told you guys this 2 weeks ago. You wouldn't believe some of them back in the day, the emails, the hate, being on the air, being in a different market, being on a station that maybe had a host before me that was a different nationality, right? Spoke differently. And then me trying to fill the bill, me going into Ohio and being in a very different market, doing radio all over the place. I've had it slung at me. I don't give a shit. It doesn't bother me. Whatever. Think what you want to think. But we're so reactionary and we're so friggin' sensitive. And this is such a racially charged country. And this league is so racially charged. The worst thing the commissioner did was suspend this head coach, because now the viral, the nonsense, now mark my friggin' words, mark my words. Don't tell me in another week or two, this girl, this player is not going to get nasty threats. It's going to happen. And I'm not saying she brought it on herself. I'm not saying that. But the action of the league basically turning around and suspending the head coach, I think it's a bad look. I don't think it's warranted. I don't. I just don't. And now you're basically painting a broad stroke on this woman who, from what I read and gather, is really respected. I mean, she apologized. She was sincere. Move on, man. What do you want? Her to friggin' give her newborn? Give you blood? Come on. It's utterly ridiculous. Get in on the conversation. 12 o'clock noon on the East Coast, Sunday edition on Q. Rich Quinones here. If you like the content, like, comment, subscribe, share. Just be respectful in the chats. That's all I ask. You guys want to come at me, you come at me. Don't come at the commenters. You want to call me a jackass, jerk off, whatever. You want to call me an idiot, go ahead, have at it. But don't go at the commenters. Keep it respectful. Sandy culture is being attacked. Yeah, because she used that word and she's Australian. And again, I had to turn around. And I was like, I'm going to play, you guys tell me, I'm going to play the clip. And where I chuckled is that she literally said, and that's true. Like, she'll tell you that, like, meaning, yeah, okay, the player's going to tell you she's protected. So I want you to listen to this. And I looped it so you guys can listen. I think it's 6 seconds in. 6 seconds in, you'll hear it, but I want to see if I can pull it up for you guys. I got it up here somewhere. I'm going to pull it up for you. Hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. Let me see. All right, this is, we're going to grab it. And then I want you guys to listen to it. And you tell me what you make of it. Because like I said, I think it is, I think it's much to do. about nothing. But because the player came out and, tweeted and then had the clown emoji, I think all it did was just basically add fuel to the fire, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. I mean, you guys tell me if I'm off base. So I want you to, hopefully this will play for you. I want you guys to listen to this and you tell me. I'll loop it so it'll go over a couple times, and you decipher if you think, if you chuckled, if you're like, much to do about nothing, not a big deal, let's move on. But this, you'll be able to hear it right now. So I'll just mute myself and I'll let you guys listen.
Sandy Brondello pleads her case. Carl Smesco has walked over closer to the officials. Meanwhile, there's theater in...
She rolled over.
Sandy Brondello pleads her case. Carl Smesco has walked over closer to the officials. Meanwhile, there's theater in...
She rolled over.
Sandy Brondello pleads her case. Carl Smesco has walked over.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing. Like, I'm not laughing per se. I'm laughing because she's like, you know what? She would tell you the same thing. I mean, what do you guys think? Is this way overblown? Do you agree with the suspension? Do you really think there was like malicious, nasty intent here? And do you also believe that some of these players are just way too friggin' sensitive? Get in, get early, let's go, let's have it, let's debate. No issues with AT suspension or the Sandy suspension, but it does depict the polarization of the dynamics of the league, continuing stepping in, especially in recent weeks. ELD, excellent point. Excellent point. Skiing steep and neat, good morning. Paul's Trout, white privilege. Not sure where we're going with that one. Australia has a horrible history on black racism, focus race realism. But was that comment? But again, now you're taking it down a different a rabbit hole. You're painting a broad stroke over one. Look, we've been into. I've been to different countries. We've been in different cultures. We've dealt with different cultures. We probably grew up with different cultures. She apologized profusely. So what more? Like, what difference, again, what difference at this point? Why suspend? Because my whole argument is it goes back to the league. It goes back to the handling of the league. Don't you guys see it? It's this commissioner, which it always comes back to her. It always comes back to the commissioner. She is the problem because she has no idea how to handle her league. Period. That's all. That's exactly what she's doing. So I don't really think that this should have warranted a suspension. I don't. I really don't. And like I said, ultimately, if you guys are new to the show, we talk about certain things on the show that you guys might think are taboo. And trust me, I've been doing this a minute. You're not going to have an I gotcha moment with me. You're not. You're just not. Angel Reese is a polarizing player. She's a polarizing person. If no one gets caught wind of this on the hot mic, she goes on social, she doesn't go on social. This is not an issue today. But I don't know how you guys can sit there and say whether you like the terminology, you disagree with the terminology, whether you find it offensive. That's up to you guys to come up with. When you have players that are already coming out saying it's not offensive, when you have a former player of hers saying no, she meant nothing by it, she apologized profusely. When Dawn Staley comes out and basically says that's a sincere apology, that should have been where it's gone. It ends. You can't have all the players every single solitary time something said or something done is going the right, go on social media and cry victim. You can't. You can't. Because then the league is where it's at. Period. And I like her. I've said this numerous times on the show. I like Angel Reese. I think she's a hell of a player. I think she's starting to come in her own. But I also understand she's a polarizing person. She's a polarizing player. She's got the masses that follow her. She's got a following. Some love her, some hate her. And I think all this did now is just basically stoke the fire. And she's going to have more of a bullseye on her back. And if you guys agree, that's great. If you don't, that's not a problem. It's not about where someone went to high school or college, educated or not. You take some things out of context. You take some things out of context. That's all. And this is exactly what I think is happening. I mean, again, this is a player that's coaching this league. She's coached the national team. She's coached in the league. She's got a good reputation. She's got respect of her peers, period. Period. So now all of a sudden you're going to paint her as a racist and that's what people are doing. Now, her lot in life going forward is she's the one that called a player who happens to be an African-American player, an Australian term that is almost like, hey, we're protecting the player, a protected species. Like, that's her lot in life. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's all I'm saying. That's not fair. I think you want to fine, you want to sit there and you want to tag her, you want to, what are they, where you have to go and sensitivity, but don't suspend her, man, because the league has already taken hit after hit after hit. On a night where Caitlin Clark has 45 and 10, a night last night where Mitchell has 30-something and played really well. And I don't know what this woman thinks. I mentioned this the other day on the air. If you go back and listen to the old Howard Cosell clips and remember what he said on Monday Night Football, Dallas and Washington, then the Redskins, and he used a term to describe Alvin Garrett, which obviously was an offensive term. Then you realize that's what he calls his grandchildren. Well, he was an older guy at that time, right? Older white man broadcaster. Not even thinking, not even realizing it. Comes out as offensive. It ruins him. And it was not the right comment to make. But that's what he used to call his grandchildren. Okay? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just think it's blown way out of proportion. And then the catalyst is the player that's already people look at and say either has been the victim, victimized, or the villain. The 3 Vs. And all that does is going to add more, I think, fuel to this league's fire. Every day, it's something new. Every single solitary day, it's something new with this friggin' league. Period. It's like, what are we doing? You watch Mitchell with 33. You watch some of these good ballers, these good games. You had good officiating tonight. Clark, 45 and 10. They come from behind. Seattle is a young team. They're showing a little fight. Last night, the Liberty, hanging in there. They couldn't shoot for shit, but you go around the league. You got 3 games, right? But you know what everyone's going to talk about today and tomorrow? The comments, the suspension. And then everyone's going to sit there and they're going to have their old diatribe. They're going to sit there and they're going to try to rewrite history. I'm not doing that on a friggin' Sunday. I'm not doing that. This league is already under scrutiny, and it's only going to get worse. Chris chimes in, WNBA is under scrutiny now. They're looking to make examples of the wrong people so they can say they are trying. That's not good. That is a bad, bad look. Mike in Ohio chimes in. Q, I want to call you an idiot. Laugh out loud. I know you're passionate, and I know you're very highly intelligent. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. I'm not explaining myself to anyone. I've been doing this long enough. I can tell you this right now. No one's getting me in a gotcha moment. You can try all you want, but you know what? Not happening. Pam chimes in. Thanks, Pam. Need a new commissioner. Kathy is a clown. This is BS. Skiing chimes in. They call CC all kinds of things. Right, but has she gone on social media yet and bitched, whine, and complain? Seriously. Has she? No. She hasn't. She hasn't. And look, every player, when the calls aren't going getting their way, they're sensitive. They're sensitive. But the problem is this league, and I go back to what I've said weeks ago, it has created such a divide. Period. Period. And now what's happening is that you turn around and as much as you want to watch the league, enjoy these players, well, CT chimes in. I don't know where you've been. You hiding on a rock? Who gives an F about the league, dude? Well, then your show's not for you, brother. Keep it moving along. I would say what? Millions of people, ratings are up, CBA, collective bargaining agreement. Everyone's talking about it. I mean, you've been on a rock, brother? Come on now. Show's not for you on this Sunday. We like to talk about certain things that others won't talk about. We like to dive into certain things that we find are compelling. When you have any league and you have a comment made and you have a player tweet about it, and then the instant reaction by the league that's already under the microscope turns around and they suspend a highly respected head coach over what? That is a problem. The system is broken. The league just went nuclear. The league's broken. I keep saying it. Imagine this shit happens in the NFL or the NBA. And by the way, do you have any idea what the hell said in these huddles. Man, I know NFL players. I used to do shows with NFL players. I used to do a pod with Brandon Jacobs. He used to tell me story after story. The shit that's being said on the field. Imagine if every friggin' player turned around and bitched, whined, and complained. It just so happened that a coach was caught on a hot mic basically saying, yeah, you're protecting a player who, oh, by the way, she got suspended for, which just tells you that, hey, you just protected her by suspending her. It's a double standard. You guys got to see it, man. And if you don't, you're blind. It is a double standard. That is a problem. That is a problem, period. And some of you, grow thick skin. Realize what the problem is, right? Stop blaming shit on other people. Stop blaming your problems on other. Man, come on, man. Did you wake up today? It's a good day. Hold yourself accountable. And what happens is some of these players in a lot of sports leagues want to play the victim. And I'm not singling out Angel Reese, but I'm saying the mentality is I got to go get mine, man. I got to get the shine. I got to take it off something else. I got to take it off someone else. I have to now draw the attention back to me. Do you really think the league wants to deal with this crap? Or any league? Go back and look what's transpired. They can't stand said player. The league is divisive. It's inclusive. It's split between. It's always a race issue. It's black, right. It's straight or gay. They won't protect certain players. They're going to play favorites to certain players. There is what I like to say, there's a lot of narcissists, with these players, narcissism. There's the commissioner who absolutely has no idea which side of the fence to hang her hat. She's trying to appease certain players. She's basically just coming up with stuff on a whim. And that's not good. Look, I don't believe at all that this woman, and I don't know her for Adam, but I like to think sometimes you give people the benefit of the doubt. And she doesn't strike me as someone that has a racist bone in her body. Now, the player takes offense to it. That's their right. I cannot tell you how to feel, what to think. I can't. But the fact that the league steps in right away, they swooped in right away. She bitched, she whined, she tweeted it out, and the league stepped in like that. I have a problem with that. After the coach profusely apologized, it shows you how the league is run. The lack of leadership, the lack of accountability. There's no protocols in place. You can sit there and say that you expect the highest standard of professionalism, respect. Well, what about what some of these players do on the court? I mean, come on. And oh, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Angel Reese imply Caitlin Clark gets special whistle? I'm just saying, but nobody wants to talk about that. So before some of you come at me, and again, call me a clown, call me an idiot, I believe that was said. The double standard, period. The double standards, period. Racists don't immediately turn around and apologize if they have accidentally offended someone. Everyone is a racist in the stupid league. That's painting a broad stroke. I think she really genuinely felt bad, and she probably realized, okay, maybe someone didn't understand the context of my words. And look, there are some people, and they expose themselves, as we talked about on this feed, when they come out and they comment. And if they're coming from a good place. If they're trying to be genuine and they're trying to have a really intelligent conversation. Like, again, calling people X, Y, and Z an idiot, dumb, clown. I mean, there's no context. You're lazy, right? You're lazy. That's you've peaked in life. That's why I allow some of these comments to be directed at me. I don't want them directed at you guys because I love how you guys chime in and I respect that you hang out with me as much as you do. It means everything to me. And we like to have fun and we engage. So you cannot control idiots. I'll take the shrapnel. I'll take the bullets. I'm fine with that. Doesn't bother me one bit, man. But what happens is you can't paint a broad stroke, an entire fan base, an entire league, organization. You can't. There's always going to be bad apples in a bunch. There's always going to be players that are petty and jealousy. There's always going to be someone in this life that plays the victim. Never looking in the mirror, never wanting to hold themselves accountable, always looking to blame someone. I'm not claiming said player is that player or that person, but we've all been there. So as I said, at the end of the day, man, I'm telling you, many players have said Tom Brady was protected. They didn't infer he was not human, a different species. Patrick Mahomes is protected too, is he not? And the last time, I checked, Patrick Mahomes, he's black, right? I don't know. You're talking yourself into a situation. You're going to talk, right? Bro, I got, let me tell you something. It's funny because you guys, obviously, some of you have never listened to me before. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. So trust me, you're not going to have to get you. It ain't going to work, right? How dare you say Tom got favoritism? They didn't make the Tuck rule for him, but then again, Deflategate says the opposite. Spygate, too. Spygate, Deflategate, and oh, by the way, 2007, they were perfect until my Giants came along. You talk too much, you're going to talk yourself right into a situation. I see it coming, you're too hyper, and I see a problem. I'm too hyper. Dude, go away. Get out of here. I mean, seriously. Apparently, you haven't listened. Yeah, I can tell exactly what you're all about. But hey, man, I appreciate it. What a crock of shit. Way overblown. Way overblown political theater. Too hyper. That's funny. Joe D chimes in. Too hyper, Q. I guess this guy hasn't listened to you on the radio for years. Nah, probably hasn't. Christopher chimes in. It's hard to be a public figure and not hear derogatory comments. You should respect it and ignore it, generally speaking. So it's an interesting point you bring up. Words are words at the end of the day. And some people take offense by words. Sometimes people get offended. Remember, someone might say something to you and you're like, I don't like your tone. You're not really focused on the words, but you're focused on the tone. I've listened to that clip 1,000 times. It wasn't nasty. And it was actually kind of comical when she turned around and she said, and she'll tell you this, and she knows it. Yeah, there's protected players in the league, but because she used the word species, people derive it as a derogatory term, and it's offensive to them. I can't make you think otherwise. But for the league to suspend her, my point, I think that's a crock. Do you get it? Not you, Christopher, but do some of you guys and girls or those listening, do you not understand how this league is so divisive right now? Do you think that's the best thing to do after she apologized is suspend her? Don't you think all that does is add fuel to the fire and puts another black eye on this league? Another check mark? Which probably, again, is going to make Adam Silver think 42% equity. Here we go. We got to step in and do something. We got to step in and do something. No justice in trying to control what everyone says or think. Nope. I told you this. Guys argue with me all day long. 2 + 2 is 5. Have at it, man. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese both brought fans, but they brought a cultural war. That's good. See how you're thinking right there? I got to call you out, man. No, it's not good. That's the problem with people like you that think like that. That is a dangerous line of thinking, man. No. Because what you're basically saying is they brought out black and white. And we already got enough of that crap and shit going on in this country. We don't need it to filter in the sports and how we view it. But you have divisive people on these networks that want to feed you that crap. I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement. Have they brought fans? Yes. The latter part of it, you don't want a culture war. That's not good. That's where we're at. Is that how you really think? Is that what you want? That's the environment you want your kids to grow up in? Or, if you're taking them these games, you want them to see them going at each other because of that? No, man, that's a bad line of thinking. That is a bad line of thinking. Bama boy, it's Angel Reese, grow up. Listen, she is a lightning rod, right? She's a cryberry, jealous one. It's even worse. You can criticize her. Color and then focus. What focus? Focus on your color body. But again, it's not. No one's saying. I don't agree with. Don't attack players. Like, don't do the racist stuff. Don't. The player doesn't deserve that. They don't. They don't at all. Okay. They don't. None of them deserve that. When you have somebody going after Gray because of your betting line and you don't hit your prop and you turn around and you're looking at 12 points and she's got 9.5 and you throw racist, nasty. I don't condone any of that stuff, man. Sports should be enjoyable. It should be enjoyable. You like a player, you don't like a player, that's fine. But unfortunately, this league, and I keep repeating myself, again, I told you guys, a majority of you think the suspension's not warranted and it's blown out of control, proportion. And I tend to agree with you. This league could be better. This league, and I'm not saying put a muzzle on players. I told you, man, I'm all about freedom of speech, freedom of expression. But I also think you have to have some decorum. I think you also have to play it down the middle. I think you got to see both sides. And before you run off and go on social, understand what was said. Understand the context. Like, to me, I take that as a badge of honor, man. Someone calls me a jackass or an idiot, I take it as a badge of honor. You're tuning in, man. Something I said ruffled your feathers. Keep them coming. And I don't think like Angel Reese. She took offense to it. Protect the species? Yeah, that's right. I'm the golden goose too. The hell with Caitlin Clark. But, some people don't know how to script that. They don't know how to flip that script. They don't know how to flip that narrative. So she took offense to it, period. But you can't tell me that worse stuff hasn't been said to the Sophia Cunninghams or the Caitlin Clarks of the world or the Buckets of the world. Hell, look what Bucket said the other day, and people were going off on her on social. Is she going back on social now, calling every single solitary player out or every single solitary fan out? Or if a player says something to her on the floor, you think she's going to tweet about? Come on, man. You're in the heat of battle. You're in the heat of battle. It's a game. There's a foul. You're questioning the foul. The coach comes out, says what she says, man. We move on. There should be no suspension. It's a crock. And it just shows to the poor leadership of this league. And again, it's one of the reasons that I think they need, at the end of the day, bam, get this woman out of here. Get her out of here. Period. 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 And it's not cool, man. It's not cool to sit there and because you've got that voice, you've got that platform, to sit and then tweet something out, to tag the coach, to put a clown, to get what you want. And now all of a sudden this woman's going to be painted like a racist. I have a problem with that because no one deserves that. She said what she said. She obviously is not from this country. We understand what's going on in this country. We understand that term in this country. We get it. Move on. Grow up. But again, I cannot tell someone how to think, how to act, how to feel. I'm not going to take offense to it. I kept listening to it, and what made me chuckle was the fact that she's like, oh, come on, she knows that. Like, it's just, and by the way, when you have a former player who's literally coming out, an African-American player, supporting the coach, basically saying, yeah, you're getting favorable calls. It's just another check against the league and the commissioner. Last night, Mitchell went off. She went off last night. Clark didn't have her 45. I told you, I was calling the fights. I had one eye on the monitor, one eye on the game. Here we go. She went off last night. That's a nice win for them, right? They blew out the Liberty, who just at times can't shoot. But that was a good game until the officials got involved. What else is new? So you've got a player making a run of 25-plus games, 10, 11 straight. That should be the story today, right? You got 3 games on the docket. That should be the story today. And I'm wondering, too, are they going to talk about this at 4 p.m. on CBS? They going to talk about this when Chicago and Atlanta play? I don't think so. They're not going to touch it. No. They're not going to touch it all. Look, hold yourself accountable at times. Hold yourself accountable. Everyone can't cry wolf. After a while, it's like, come on, man. Just stop. Stop. Hey, listen, so, it's funny, Christopher, because I turned around and I said, don't be shocked if they move her. And I already stated, it's on the channel. I already stated all that crap. I'm not going to go through it. But the trade deadline is around the corner, right? Kevin C. in North Jersey. Q, I always appreciate you. I always think you come from a good spot. And I know you're very passionate about these divisive comments because I know you've documented on there that you went through it. Yeah, I did. Nobody likes to be called slurs or names. Nobody likes that. But you also turn around and, come on. You also just kind of, they're just words, man. Just words. We can't take everything. Can't be so sensitive. Because you know what happens? Then we know we got you. We know we can kind of get under your skin a little bit. And I'm not saying be racist. I'm not saying throw that out there. But players, man, I'm telling you, they see that. Someone said, I might drop that while we're playing. And then what's going to happen? Right? If that was offensive, I would have been on suspension. I would have been on the suspend her train, but come on, this is stupid. But never let Angel Reese take advantage of the moment, never fails. That's another problem with some of these players. They love the spotlight. It's not Congress, Angel Reese. We have Congress. And I hate it. So I'll say this. We agree on one thing. I can't stand that Congress drew up a letter to the WNBA. I think it's a crock of shit. I think it's a joke. This is what happens when a society overreacts. It's what happens when society overreacts. 100%. It's unfortunate, man. It's, I guess maybe I'm too old school. Like, you're brought up a certain way where, come on, man, toughen up. Have thicker skin. It is what it is. If you're letting them get to you now, what's going to happen in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? What's going to happen when you're in the real world? You're getting paid to play basketball. You're getting paid to do something you love, right? And there's outside opportunities to make money. Marketing, branding, walking runways, modeling, endorsements. Come on. Like, you're winning. You see where I'm coming from? You're winning in life. She's a good-looking girl. She's got a little feistiness. She's got edge to her. She can play. She can rebound. She's walking, catwalks, modeling. And you're going to be in line. You're going to make a lot of money, man. You're going to make a lot. So I don't think, like, people are coming out, sitting there saying, good for you for standing up for what? For what? You tweeted at a coach. That's what you did. And now you've got the haters out there that didn't like you, that believe you're the victim and the villain, and now they're going to come out tenfold. Now, just bear with me for a minute. It's like, here's the rub. You want to defend yourself. You want to stick up for yourself. You didn't like the term. Maybe you didn't understand the whole context of the term, because we know when I post stuff, like anything else, things get taken out of context. People will hear 15 seconds, 30 seconds and run with it. That's what we do, especially with social media, which is so toxic and yucky and disgusting. I can't stand, I hate social, but I got to do it because when you're in the media and you broadcast and you're all over the place, you got to post stuff, you got to engage. After a while, it's annoying. But I always promise you guys, every time I get off the air, I respond to every freaking comment that you guys hit up at me. I do. I really do. Especially after the video's on demand. So you have all of that. All of that. But again, it comes out to being so reactionary. And like the boy who cried wolf, right? The boy who, after a while, hey man, what happens the next time? What happens when a coach comes out, I don't know, and says, that's a playground foul. What does that mean now? We're going to deem it as that's like thug punk ball, right? I mean, it's, you just opened up this just, and the league didn't do themselves any favors, just me, by turning around and suspending her. An investigation, legislation are two different things. There are already necessary laws in place. Enforcement is the key. I'm over the victim mentality. Grow thicker skin. What do we got here? Dave, I want to get to Dave. Got a lot of comments coming in. Clark needs to be protected because the commissioner and the refs aren't protecting her at all. Well, I think we all know that. I think we all can agree. I said it's going nuclear. I don't think it's going Me Too. I think it's going nuclear. I think the league is taking a lot of PR hits. A lot of PR hits, man. I really do. I feel as though they can't get out of their own way. Right? That's what I feel. I feel like they just can't get out of their own way. Where Caitlin is today, sitting in a VIP Box World Cup Finals, receiving countless threats and hateful words online just this weekend. Block, ignore, go live, go live your best. Yeah, that's, but Monica, people don't want to do that. You ever hear the expression, you do you, I do me, right? People don't want to do that. They just don't. They just want to, again, they want to just, I don't know, maybe, you're not hugged enough. I don't know, go to church, get saved, go find Jesus. I don't know, have a moment. I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like this league, they can't get out of their own way. They can't get out of their own way. And that's a problem. That is a problem for this league. They have to be able to just find some rhythm, some rhyme, right? Anthony, relax. You don't need to go off on the thread. I'm not even going to read that. We know about the Congress. We know, I get it. No one's saying Caitlin Clark was involved. Relax, relax, relax. Just relax. No one's calling her Congressional Kate, Confederate Kate. No one's calling her that. Just relax. Calm down. That's why I didn't like Congress using Caitlin Clark in that vein. I didn't. I didn't like the fact that they're using her as what? As a carrot. As a carrot. They're dangling her out there for what? Their political gain. That's a problem. No one. Livewire checks in. My man, Mr. Wire. Tammy responded and supported her coach and gave the same explanation. It's beyond sensitive, man. It is beyond sensitive. Like, this is what I hate saying it, but here's the reality. Sometimes we bring shit on ourselves. Sometimes, humans, we are human. We're not getting a love. We're not getting the shine. We're not getting the flowers. The attention is taken off of me. So what do I got to do? I got to kick, scream. I got to throw a friggin' tantrum, man, because I got to get mommy and daddy's attention. Some people are just like that. I've said this numerous amount of times. This league is divisive. It's got inclusion written all over it, and the players are friggin' immature, man. So the guys that were getting at me the other day that I was bitching, whining, complaining that the players don't bitch, whine, and complain about the fouls. Again, I had one eye on the monitor. I'm calling fights last night. Every single solitary I don't give a shit what color their skin was. I don't care if it was Boston, Mitchell, Clark, Cunningham. Every player was bitching, whining, complaining after a friggin' foul. Every player was crashing out. That's a problem. So now, because I don't get my way, I go on social. Now, because someone said something that hurt my feelings, I go on social. Now, because, again, someone, didn't help me up, smacked my hand away, said something to me on the floor, I can't deal with it, I go on social. Come on, man, grow up. Grow up. Tough enough, man, because this ain't real life. You're playing a game that you get paid a lot of money to play, man. A lot of money to play. And you've got opportunities. You've got opportunities. I've said this over and over. Some of these players, they're extremely attractive. They're very strong. They're educated. They know how to play the game, the branding, the marketing, and they play good ball. You've got the package, man. Stop trying to fucking sabotage it. And that's exactly what they're doing. This league is sabotaging themselves. This league, every single solitary day, they find a new way to have a friggin' controversy where I wanted to come on, talk some hoops, talk LeBron, talk the World Cup, and you get this shit. It's like, come on, stop already. Stop sabotaging yourself. You can't muzzle everyone. You can't prevent everyone from going on social, and you can't prevent people from responding the way they are. Grow thicker skin. If she would have turned around and used if she would have said something, used like the N-word, then that's a problem, man. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a nasty friggin' term. Warrants a suspension. Kick her out of the league, whatever. But we've gone to another level of just stupidity and like I said, nuclear. You guys have no clue what the hell said half the time in these NFL huddles on the field. I've had players tell me, and what the fans say to them, or what some NBA players have to endure. I mean, can you imagine if every player turned around and went on social every time someone said something they didn't like or deemed offensive? Or the commissioner said, open door policy, we're going to handle it. And I'm not hedging and I'm not pushing the goalpost back. She has a right. If she felt compelled to do it, do it. But I would just caution, be careful what you wish for. Like, just be careful what you put out there, because the backlash because of some of these idiots out there and some of these hate mongers and trolls, now you've given them ammunition. You've given them another reason to attack you, which I do not condone. I see people on social, on YouTube. I mean, you guys think I'm getting fired up. or I'm getting hyper. I've watched some shows even early this morning where they're literally saying go after some play, like put her in her. Are you kidding me? You're spewing that crap, and by some of the comments, like that's the show for you. We don't want you to chime in on this show. We don't want that nonsense. We don't want that hate, that thinking. The whole friggin' system in the league is friggin' broken. It is. It is. You got so much friggin' hate out there. You take social media away, and what happens? You got to wait for the paper to go to press. You got to call sports phone back in the day. Half of this shit is not even, we're not even dealing with this. Did you see the game last night? Yeah, not bad. Officiating stinks. Oh, okay. Oh, did you hear that? I read it in the paper the other day that that coach is suspended. Oh, man, I didn't catch that. But now everything, and it's, you got reporters after the game that cover the storm after Caitlin Clark scores 45 and 10, makes an all-time defensive play for herself, hits the dagger. You got some jackass clown reporter sitting there trying to stoke the flames and say that was a call. Where the head coach, that was a foul. Where the head coach has to come back and sit there and say, no, it wasn't. My God, the pettiness. The jealousy. I don't think I can last in that league. I just don't. I just, and I got thick skin, but after a while, it's like enough is enough, man. I just, no. I can't do it. I just can't. Whitlock's the problem. He's the problem. He's not very Christian-like, Adam, because on his bio, it says be Christian-like, and he's not. It's not a cult. Like, people love Brady. People love Mahomes. Right? I mean, people love Lamar Jackson. You know, there's fans. That's all. Fans. You like your favorite player, man. People love Brunson. People like Wemby. People love, you know, LeBron. The LeBron debate, right? You have a legion of LeBron fans that no way you can sit there and say he's not better than Michael Jordan. No way. I'm telling you, if this league, if somebody said to the WNBA, we're going to triple, we're going to quadruple the value of the league as long as you provide fucking drama on a nightly basis and you just keep dividing people and fans and players, we're going to make you gazillions and trillions and billions. They'd have generational wealth. They would have generational wealth beyond your wildest dreams. They love drama. They love drama. I don't know. Is Engelbert just sitting there with her little heels, you know, high up on her desk, checking social media, you know, with a little witch laugh, you know, ha 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 ha, you know, just loving this, right? Hot track. Let's see what you have to say. Appreciate you chiming in for the first time. Is a coach supposed to refer to a player as anything besides their name on their number? Was her insinuating someone's protecting mean the league is corrupt? Corruption, a person be protected when they have 7 techs. It's the heat of the moment. That's it. It's the heat of the moment. No one's sitting there saying that you have to sit there and call her by the number. You know, it's the heat of the moment. Like, you ever listen to NFL films, some of the coaches, when they're talking about, you know, why the F is this guy? You know, you're always protecting the quarter. You're always protecting number 13. You're always protecting number 10. Like, you know, what the hell? You're always protecting this guy, Marine. I mean, it's the heat of the moment. She was fired up, man. And by the league suspending her, they're basically saying, yeah, we're protecting this player. It's just this, and this is why I don't watch the other networks. Because you flip on one, you flip on the other. It's like a national story. It is. Because, again, white coach, black player. And I know for the sensitive Susies out there, you might be a first-time chimer, and I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. But that's the reality. That's the reality. We had a great night on Friday night. We had a great show yesterday, man. We were going back and forth debating the Mamba instincts, the Mamba killer of Caitlin Clark and Mitchell and everything and what moves are going to be made. And then you watch last night, Clark doesn't really have a very good game. Couple turnovers, couple threes, you know, did what she needed to do. Mitchell was the hero. She was phenomenal. And again, you got games today. You got the World Cup. But once again, the WNBA is like, no, we can't give anyone else shine. You got the LeBron watch. We can't give anyone shine. If we give someone shine, then guess what? That takes away from our drama or nonsense. And that's not a good look, man. It's not a good look. It's just not. And I think, again, I would say this. Sometimes you just have to just let it go. I know it's easier said than done, but you have to let it go sometimes. If you get that fired up about it, then maybe you need to look at yourself. If it's really truly offensive, okay, that's one thing. That's one thing. But man, I'm telling you, this is all on the commissioner. That's it. And it's going to get worse. And everyone thinks I'm crazy with my conspiracy theories. Watch what happens when a player says something to really get under another player's skin. And all of a sudden, punches are thrown. And all of a sudden, it bleeds into the stands. And all of a sudden, a father's trying to protect his kid. And God forbid, never manifested, don't want to see it happening. All of a sudden, he starts letting it's going to be, it's the tension, it's brewing. It is. You see it on the floor. You see how these players are. There's a foul, side eye, slap the hand away. There's no sportsmanship. There really isn't. Because this is what the league wants. They want this. They thrive on it, man. They feed off it. They love it. They get, the juice from this shit. They get off on this stuff. They can sit there all they want and throw out crap to us that we take the league. It's got to be a certain standard and level of professionalism. We're not going to talk. But behind closed doors, they're getting off on this. They love it. They absolutely love it because we're talking about it. Because it's so divided. Because now you got to watch. It's like you're driving on the road. You're on an expressway or the parkway, or you're going down south, you're on 95, or you're enjoying a little scenic route in California out west. And what do you see? You see that car crash, right? And as much as you're like, oh man, that sucks, man. I hope no one's injured. What do? You fucking slow down. It's human. You slow down because you want to see the wreck. It's twisted. It is. But that's what we do. That is how humans are wired. You want to see the wreck. You want to see the carnage. You want to know what the hell's going on. So you slow down. You never just keep straight ahead, follow the detour. You just glance real quick. You want to know what the hell happened. That's the league. The league wants us, the puppets, pulling the string, the league. And we're the puppets, and they're pulling the strings. The media, the broadcasters, content creators, radio hosts, the fans, they want us to slow down and see the car crash. They want us to see the wreck. That's what they want. If they really cared, they would clean this shit up, and they refuse to. It's why they need to get rid of this woman. And it doesn't matter who they bring in because there's still going to be backlash, which is another conversation for another day. League's in a free fall. Commissioner needs fired ASAP. Money investors are going to eventually water down and say, I'm out. But here's the problem, Kevin. The problem is the league is making money. And the league's expanding. And they got the new CBA. They have the broadcast rights. Revenue is up. So again, when she goes and states her case, the end of the year performance review, and she goes into Adam Silver's office, guess what happens? She's going to have all these checks. And if she's smart, hey, let's go over some of the cons. Yeah, we got to deal with boom, boom, boom. The officiating, the violence of the game, clean up the game, the officiating, how the players react, and, whatever. We already know. It's already documented. Then all of a sudden, she's going to go, well, hold on a second, Adam. Let me show you the bottom line. Check out the P&L. We're profitable. Broadcast rights, revenue, merchandise. We got so many different faces of the league, so many different faces of the franchise. Our clicks are up. Our dashboard is up. Our viewership is up. Our insights and social are up. Our following's up. And that all equates to dollars. And that's all they friggin' care about. What you're saying is accurate. But all they care about, the bottom line, is money. So you have to bring in someone that understands that. That's why Silver needs to get rid of her. You need to hire within the NBA, bring in a branding and marketing expert. And I don't care if it's a heterosexual male, and I don't care if it's a straight or gay female. I don't care. Do the friggin' job. Be qualified to do the job. And basically your first order of business, clean up the officiating, invest full time in the referees. Then you have a league-wide meeting with every single effing player, and you lay down the law. It's as simple as that. You lay down the law. Period. Period. Hot take, people apologize when they're told they have to apologize. The action was already taken, and that was the result. So, two schools of thought. A lot of people who really say something stupid on the air and really have the I gotcha moment or the hot mic. And we've seen it with some of the broadcasters. Remember Brenneman? I believe that's how they really think. Seriously. I believe that's how they really think, some people like that. And I believe it's only when they're forced to make an apology, that's when they come out, because of the backlash. You can blame Cece for this too. She took money and has never once spoken out on the toxicity of the league. But she has. She has. She's come out and she said, I don't condone violence or the hate. And that was after the Thomas foul. She said we need to do better. And she fired the shot to the commissioner talking about the officiating. See, I don't believe the players, and this is where it's a very debatable and touchy subject, Pete, but I appreciate the comment and the insight. It gets a little dicey here because you'll get the old school and they'll sit there and say, I don't want to hear what you have to say, right? The quote, shut up and dribble. Hey, man, I'm all for it. I'm all for, voicing your opinion and having an opinion. But I'm also for a well thought out opinion, providing context to it, stating your case in an intelligent fashion, not just going on social and blasting the blast because you have 1 million followers and then you've got the herd mentality. I said this yesterday. Strength in numbers is a bad thing in this regard. You've got the herd mentality. So I put it out there. I throw out the toxicity, and all of a sudden my little sheep, my little herd, they're going to follow suit and they're going to attack. That I have a problem with. So Caitlin Clark doesn't need to come out. The players don't have to come out. They don't. Some of them choose to come out and state their case. I think some of the younger players, I also think, you got to watch because these older players have an influence on these younger players. And I still believe in my heart of hearts that they pull them to the side and they want them to say and act a certain way. There's pressure on them. It's not like hazing, but get along to go along. So in one vein, sure, you can speak. You can come out and say what you have to say. But I also think at times, take a moment, think about it before you press send. Take a moment, think about it before you put people on blast. That's all, because it goes back to what I said an hour ago. Reactionary. Fast approaching 1 o'clock on the East Coast, a Sunday edition of On Cue. I'll put it up for you guys real quick. We'll get back to the comments. You can follow me if you like the content on my YouTube channel, at RichQ on Q. And, of course, we're on the Odyssey app, SR 1029 FM The Game, Coastal Sports Digital Network, Monday to Friday, but we've been firing off pretty much every day with a lot of hoop stuff. We provide a lot of NFL content as well, boxing content, and, of course, our gambling and betting show. If you guys keep commenting, just keep the comments respectful. That's all I ask. If you guys want to attack me, you can attack me all you friggin' want. Just keep the comments respectful to those on the feed. I don't care if you call me a jackass clown. That's fine. That's fine. Just provide context on that, will you? We're also powered by Fresh Roasted Coffee. Yeah, Caitlin Clark has definitely come out. She has definitely spoken. And listen, I know you guys are kind of shifting towards the Congress stuff. I don't really want to get into that today. I don't. Because, I feel as though they don't need to butt in. They don't. And look, Mike chimes in. I want to see players speak out more, right? I'm seeing First Lady chime in from Delaware. I don't think these players need to actually say a word, Q. Okay. Sally would know about the favoritism that exists. She has played in the league and coached these teams and went to WNBA finals. If you resort to insults, you lost the argument. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, like I said, we're there though. You understand what I'm saying? We're kind of past that point. People think if they just throw an insult, then they got you. And it doesn't work like that. You have to provide a little more context and back it up. And when we do our X's and O's and we break down these games, it's exactly what we try to do. When we talk about these types of issues, we try to provide context. The league picks and chooses. They do. They just pick and choose. Now, think about this. We're not even having these conversations over the last several weeks if the refereeing and the officiating wasn't so bad. So everything now is magnified, right? So you have a little flame, you keep throwing, paper, newspapers, wood on the fire, and now it's raging. It's engulfed, and all of a sudden the house is coming down. That's what's happening. Like the timing of this, thank God this league is getting to the friggin' All-Star game, but I don't believe anything is going to be fixed. I don't believe this league is going to remedy itself until you get new leadership. But the problem is this leadership, this current leader can turn around and show the bottom line, can show the ratings, the millions, the eyeballs, the revenue. The valuation of these franchises has gone up exponentially. She's going to take credit for it where we know where the credit stems from, number 22. We all know that. But she's going to take credit for it because that's what she does. There's literally no rhyme or reason to how this league is operated. That's not a good thing, folks. It isn't. That's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. They need to figure out a way to police within. And they don't do that. And this is where we're at. They have no idea how to police within. If they policed within, I think half of this stuff would stop. I do. I think Silver should just take over. I said it the other day. Beat de facto. Do some research and then hire somebody else. I said the same thing. CC6 chimes in. Q, do you think at the end of the day, the league's ever going to allow Caitlin Clark to succeed? The way she plays the game, it's going to be very hard because they will not allow her to break certain records. They just won't. I told you, if she went on a tear, and Mitchell's playing like an MVP, by the way, but if Clark went on a tear and had, 10 out of her next 15, 28 and 10 and 6, and the MVP odds start to shorten, they'll do everything in their power to not allow her to win the MVP. You know it and I know it. And, you guys might not, some of you might not want to hear that, but that's the reality. That's all. That's the reality of this league. They've made it where some players are not going to be able to be successful. Period. Let me see. Jazzy chimes in. Comparing Clark to what Jackie went through is disrespectful. Yeah, I mean, come on. Let's not make Caitlin Clark out to be the martyr of all martyrs. You're talking about Jackie Robinson that broke the color barrier in sports. Come on. Guys, what are we doing here? Come on. Let's keep it to where it needs to be. And like I said, I don't believe a suspension should have been warranted. I feel as though the majority of the commenters that have been chiming in today nonstop kind of follow my suit. I think we're on the same page, are we not? But the problem is this league is drawing eyeballs, right? And the more eyeballs you draw in, okay, the more revenue you bring in, then what happens? What happens? I can now turn around and I've got leverage. I've got leverage and I'm becoming more powerful. That's the problem. That's the problem. Shauna chimes in, 45 and 10, best WNBA. CC not the MVP, that's Cap. I didn't say she was. I said if she goes on a run, okay, you guys want to hear what you want to hear. She'll never win the MVP. She can average 25, 10, and 10. She can average a triple-double. The league will not allow her to win the MVP because she doesn't fit the script. That's a fact. And if you're sensitive, I don't know what to tell you. She doesn't fit the league narrative. She doesn't fit the league narrative. So it's not happening. And the problem is, white, black, yellow, I don't care, man. If you can play, you can play. But this league is designed to not allow certain players to succeed because they're inclusive and divisive. You know it, and I know it. And if you don't see it, you're naive, man. And I'm trying to be as respectful as possible, period. Period. Come on. You guys are very fired up on a Sunday. WNBA players discriminate based on skin and sexual preference. I think the league's made it out to be like that, but nobody wants to talk about it, Mike. We're so sensitive to it, but it's right in front of us. We can't turn a blind eye, right? You can't turn a blind eye at the end of the day. You can argue. You want to have a debate who's the best player in the league? Have the debate. You want to debate MVP right now? You got multiple players. Wilson's having a phenomenal year. She's having a phenomenal year. Mitchell's coming on. There's great players in this league. Don't get it twisted, man. Don't get it twisted. Period. But I'm telling you, man, again, you got to come a certain way. You got to come a little correct. Okay? Some of your arguments, if I'm reading a lot of these comments, and some of you guys are making the argument, if someone wants CC as an MVP, then they're racist towards another player. If somebody likes Wilson as an MVP, then they're racist towards Caitlin Clark. Talk about ball on the floor and the impact. That's all. We started the show with what? The suspension. And I just wanted you guys to know if it was warranted, if it was out of blown. The other question I ask is, does anyone else besides me believe this is only going to add more of a target on Angel Reese's back when it comes to the nonsense going on? I can't even. Oh my God, I can't even pull up some of these. Oh my goodness. You guys are too funny. I can only, I see what's going on with some of these. I can tell you this, if you go old school, like, oh man, especially, if you have like, the European in you, right? Or you grew up like in a Spanish household, or like a Cuban or Dominican or Puerto Rican household. Some of you guys, Italian household with the old school. Some of you guys exactly know where I'm going. Like old school. Like my uncle from Cuba. Like sometimes I got to tell him that it's not 1960 anymore, right? It's just they're older generations, man, set in the ways and how they view things. That's why half the time I won't even have certain conversations with members of my family, and I won't even sit there at the table if they start going all political on me. I just can't do it. I don't have the energy. I don't have the strength. Right? Pistol chimes in. Q, at the end of the day, what the hell did you want the league to do with her? Not suspend her. Not suspend her. I was pretty clear. Not suspend her. That's all. That's it. For those who have it twisted, CC just wants to play basketball in America with the best. She's a peacemaker, not an advocate for activism. I think some players, and Chris, I appreciate it, brother. The argument will be made. Now, I'm not playing Switzerland, but I'm gonna play both sides here. The argument will be made if you are the quote face of the league, okay? If you're the face of the league, and the crux of the league's lack of officiating, lack of leadership, the physicality, all boils down to you, then the expectation is you also need to speak up and speak out. You need to have a thought. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, I'm telling you, I don't even agree with what I'm saying, but I'm playing devil's advocate. There's a fan base out there, a sentiment of the basketball fan base and the talking heads that believe if you're really the face of the league and this movement, how come you don't speak on X, Y, and Z? And I'm going to tell you why. Once you start doing that, and if you're not educated enough on the topic, and if you sound like a fool, or you don't say what people want to hear and appease the masses, then it becomes magnified. And now you've got a bigger target on your back. The whole Congress thing bugs the hell out of me. They used her name to push their own narrative and agenda. And the optics and perception is bad. That's what I had a problem with. Right? What did McNabb used to say, right? Keep my name out of your mouth to T.O. There's no need for it. So in one breath, you're like, whoa, hold on. If you're the cash cow, you're the golden goose. Golden goose got to speak up. Well, says who? That's not her personality. I said, forget about what's going on off the floor. She needs to actually call her coach out because of the lack of minutes and the minutes restrictions. So when I said speak up and speak out, I'm talking about basketball, man. But because of the foul on Thomas and the league waits and then they hand down the suspension, she doesn't speak for a week. Caitlin Clark didn't say anything for a week. And then she finally spoke, and it was like everyone was coming to the outside window because at the Vatican, they were waiting to see the smoke. Who's going to be the next pope? She's got that effect. And then she spoke out about it, and then you move on. It's okay to be an advocate. It's okay to stand up for yourself. It's okay to have a strong opinion. But sometimes you do have to think things through, because you also have to realize once you put it out there, once you say it, it can come back and bite you in the ass. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. And I feel as though this coach went out of her way to apologize, and people still are out for blood. And then you sit there and you say, well, maybe the player just really didn't understand the context of it, and she's uberly sensitive, and now people are going to get on the player. It is like a vicious no-win cycle. It's very hard to succeed in a toxic environment. It's very hard to succeed in a toxic relationship. It's very hard to be at peace. It really is. That's why I keep going back to, it's not even about, Caitlin Clark. It's not even about Wilson or Mitchell or Cunningham or Page it's not about the players or Reese. It's not about the players. It's about how this league is run. And I'm not going to sit here and say a new commissioner is going to make a kumbaya, and every time there's a hard foul, the player's going to run over and put their hand out and give the player a hug, say, are you okay? That's not what I'm expecting. That's not what I'm asking. But my God, they made it so inclusive. They made it so divisive where some players will never be able to really thrive because the powers that be won't let them. And that's disheartening. Hey, man, you got the job, but guess what? You're never going to advance. You're never getting a promotion. You're stuck. Deal with it. Who's going to want to deal with that? This league can either explode in the next 2 to 3 years or implode. That's the way I look at it. Well, it's been around for 30 years. Man, go look at those old highlights. There were crickets in attendance. Crickets. Nobody cared about those games. None. Nobody cared about the WNBA. Nobody cared about these games except for the last several years. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's a friggin' expert. And I do not claim to be a WNBA expert, but I know basketball. I do. And I'm telling you, it's getting to the point where you have to. You have to. Here we go. Thought Mahomes in the... Yeah, I mean, look at the Super Bowl, right? Every players, there's always favoritism, man. They get calls. They get calls. You can, Mahomes made it where now when he starts scrambling to his right and he's going right near the sideline, he does a little dip and a duck so he can get hit and it's 15 yards. And I don't know if, listen, the one thing I'm going to caution, just remember, yes, there are players that want the attention, and they're starved for attention because of jealousy. A lot of it is insecurity. It's jealousy. It's pettiness. Have you ever gone on social media, have you ever gone on Facebook, and you see that one relative that is constantly friggin' posting ad nauseum where you got to mute them? Why? Because their life is not fulfilling. They lack something. You look at some of these players, and like I said, they got a lot going on. They got a lot of positive things going on in their life, but yet for some reason they want to focus on just stuff that is toxic. It's vile. It's a waste of time. It's fueling haters. That's all. It's fueling. I don't need my player to sit there and, try to solve world hunger, end the wars, create peace. We don't want that. But if you believe in something and you have convictions that are strong enough, by all right, speak. I'm just cautioning when you speak and you have the power of the microphone or you have the power of millions of followers in social media, because we know, look at the Kardashian effect. You post something about friggin' soap and it sells out in 5 minutes. People flock. It is the herd sheep mentality. You have to be careful what you put out there. That's all. The same to be said by some of these talking heads. It's extremely toxic, some of the crap. They actually want... There are creators out there. There are sports talk show hosts, because I've been doing it for 20 years, 25 plus years on the radio in various markets. And the ones before me and after me, some of them just, it's almost as though I'm gonna cause the riot. We call it clickbait nowadays, right? I'm gonna cause the riot. Let's get that friggin' stampede going, man. Let's get that herd mentality going. So she took it out of context, whatever. She took offense to it. I don't think it was offensive. I think it was taken out of context. And I don't think this woman has hate in her bones, in her body. But she got suspended, and now it's unfortunate. So people are looking at Reese saying you're the shit stirrer, you're the victim, and people are looking at this coach saying you're a racist. Somewhere around, like, we've dropped the ball. We've lost the eye on the prize, man. And that is a major problem. And until the league decides to step up, until an outside entity, the NBA, decides to step up and just say, we need a clean sweep, a clean overhaul. Watch these games today if you're not watching the World Cup at 3. Watch these games. And you watch when there's... players smack the hand away. That's not sportsmanship. That's not being physical. That's not being competitive. It is. To be honest, it's like BS ball. It's like, the ball we used to grow up. It's almost like punkish. And I've seen bad basketball. I've called games where I'm like, this is not basketball, man. What the hell's going on here? This is not a good product. But you see, they're all on edge. They're all on edge because now it's just festering. They're looking around. There is a lot of hate within this league. And I said this a week ago, and someone's like, man, you're 100% crazy, but you're 100% dead on. I think the league hates itself. I really do. I really do. You can just see, man, like, there are certain players, yeah, you see they got love for the game, man. They're having fun. But then there are some players that are just angry. Body language, read the room, the eye test, man. The eyes don't lie. Read the room. It's like you're out for blood, vengeance. It's like calm down, play the game, have fun, relax. It'll come to you. It'll slow down. The fans are going to keep coming. The product's going to get better. The officiating hopefully will be better. Just do you. Don't worry about the outside noise. But when you have veterans, hey, man, did you hear what they said about you? Can you believe that reporter said it? Oh, man, can you believe that player said it? Hey, you're not going to believe what that coach said. You're just feeding the beast. You're just feeding the beast, and that's the problem. Just feeding the beast. And, I can tell you this, man. I love basketball. I do. I'm blessed to call games in the States, overseas. It's a different game in Europe. It's a different game in Asia. I call these games overnights. It's a grueling friggin' schedule. I love the sport of basketball. I love college. I do like the WNBA, and I love the NBA. I appreciate good basketball. I don't care where you're from. I don't care how you were raised. I don't care about your political beliefs. I don't care what side of the fence you hang your hat on. I don't care if you're straight, gay. I don't care. Just give me a good product, man. Give me some. Let me talk X's and O's. This league won't allow us to do that. It won't. The league won't allow us to do that because the league every other day they're like, we gotta be in the news. We gotta be in the news. Like Angel Reese is having a pretty damn good season. Mitchell's having a pretty good damn season. Wilson's having a pretty damn good season. Clark just went for 45. Buckets is having a pretty damn good season. Trade deadline's right around the corner. All-Star game's right around the corner. And here we go. 4 o'clock. Let's see if they bring it up. They're not. They're not. Certain things, they're not going to touch. That's all. And look, everyone's going to have their opinion. I'll say this, and we got about 15 or 20 to play with. If you like the comment, share, subscribe to the channel. I think now, the hot mic, these coaches are going to think twice, but in the heat of the moment, what can you do? Right? But man, I'll tell you, I've heard worse. And I know these players speak worse on the floor. They do. My whole problem, as I mentioned an hour and a half ago, is that if you're going to do it like this, then be consistent. And the fact that right away, suspension, right? But yet when you go back to the foul on Caitlin Clark by Thomas, let's wait. And oh, by the way, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver had a push for that. That is an issue. That speaks to the larger issue at hand, folks. It speaks to Commissioner, the lack of leadership, which is a major, major, major problem. And it's not going to get better. And then you get the racial divide, you get the black and white, you get the straight gay, you get both sides of the fence. And here we go. Here we go. Mikey chimes in, WNBA said a precedent that any time a player is referred to as a different species, beast, or animal, it should result in an automatic suspension. Yeah, it's a great... How many times do I sit here and say on the air, man, she's an animal, she's a beast? I've said it on the air during... Like, that's like complimentary. Like, man, you can't stop them. You can't stop them. They're unbelievable. Man, you get them down on the low block, that is a load. That is a big body, man. Look at them. I say it all the time. But I will say this. And I'm telling you right now, and again, it's probably going to ruffle feathers. What is going to happen when someone turns around in just on the floor? In just on the floor, like jokingly, right? Because we've all played pickup ball. We've all played, high school or college ball. We played sports at a high level, right? And the trash talking. What happens when someone turns around and, Caitlin Clark makes a circus shot and, someone's running back down the floor and says, oh my God, look at that shot. What are you, a crazy cracker? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is the shit going to hit the fan? Is there going to be outrage? I can pull up, one day maybe I'll pull up the comments I've gotten, especially over the last several months, but I can pull out old emails and comments of some of my listeners, and you guys would be floored. You would be flabbergasted. You would be like, if someone said that to me, I would crack him in the jaw, man. And trust me, I've been very tempted to do that when I was younger, but not anymore. It's a waste of energy. It's words. But what's going to happen when something like that's said? She brushes it off and laughs. You're going to have people say, oh my God, suspended for life. Or you're going to have people say, she's got to speak up. She's got to speak out for herself. It all goes back to leadership. The commissioner allowed this toxicity. Period. Period, stop. They allowed it. They allowed it. And if they don't clean it up, this is, again, what you're going to get. Not good. I've never heard that term until yesterday. I'm being totally honest. But she's also from Australia. And, that's the term, I guess, that she uses. Talking is cheap. People need to stop by. And they won't. I thought about it too. Like, stop going to these games. Never going to happen. Because some of them are affordable and they want to see these players and they want to take their kids and they want to get the merchandise and the jerseys. We always sit there too, John, and say, stop going to the games. That's how you make a statement. Stop watching. That is how you make a statement. Nope. Because no matter what, when Vic did all the stuff with the dog fighting, and it was a cultural thing, right? Which I think was a crock of shit, by the way, because I know people that have pit bulls and been raising them for years and they're loving, sweet dogs, but whatever. But no matter what, he went to prison, served his time, made amends. But prior to, once he came out, and I was on the air, and we covered the Eagles, and the thought was he might sign with the Eagles. Everyone that was a dog lover, and I had my little rescue from Puerto Rico, Kiki, every dog lover said, I will never go to an Eagles game again. They're disgusting. I'm boycotting my tickets. I'll never buy. And you know what? They showed up. And as soon as he threw that first touchdown pass or scramble for 30 yards and scored a touchdown and got all excited and they scored, fans forgot. They forgot. So I know you're saying talk is cheap, like stop going, stop buying. It's never going to happen. It's not. Because there's probably a sentiment of fan base, they don't even give a shit. All they're thinking is, hey man, I can take the kids, 4-pack, nice time, gas, tolls, drive, get something to eat, get a little jersey, get a program, drop a couple bucks, and enjoy the viewing experience. We're going to keep coming back for more, like minor league sports. They're going to keep going. They're going to keep going. Now, is this going to start turning off potential advertisers? I don't know. You got an 11-year deal. All of a sudden, that broadcast deal is going to say, we're not going to air. Ion, USA, CBS, Paramount, they're all over the friggin' place. That's not going anywhere. You don't think Caitlin Clark receives death threats and needs security to protect her? Oh, no. Listen, I know some of these. I know what these play. If you were to open up some of their IGs and look at some of their messages, I guarantee you would sit there and say, oh, my God, there's sick, psychotic people in the world. Yeah. 100%. No player deserves that. No player should have somebody threatening them or calling them obscene names. I mean, the racism, the sexism, the homophobic, right? Of some of these fans and these people. Come on, man. Get a friggin' life. Go find God. I told you, go to church. Go get born again. Do something. Look in the friggin' mirror. She said what she said. She's from Australia. Heat of the moment. It's out of context. She apologized, and they suspended her. End of story. But now you're going to get the reaction. That's all. And the reaction is, you got to be kidding me. What the hell's the league doing? That's the first thing I thought. And it's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. And I stated my case. And I think I stated my case well. Why I think it's a joke. The league is so reactionary when it benefits them. The league is so reactionary when it benefits them and the players that they placate to. Can't you guys see it? That's a problem, man. That's the problem. It's not good. It's just, it's very, where's my Australian? I know I have an Australian viewer. Oh, here you go. My God. Margaret chimes in. I know she's from Australia, right? Margaret, what do we got there? Hey, from Australia, gobsmacked. AR was not able to give the grace that this comment was not race motivated. There was an apology and a learned moment. Known comment here about everything. Learned moment, right? We always talk about that. Courageous conversation, Margaret. We all have to have them sometimes. We all have to have them. Stop spending a penny on anything WNBA. Not happening. I'm going to say it again. Sandy Brondello was an NBA player for 6 years. Stop trying to make her a racist. There's no proof. Tanya, agree with you, T. I agree with you 100%. And that's the problem. Now, all of a sudden, this poor woman is going to be labeled a racist because that's the broad stroke. They want to paint that picture, right? Why don't we have this drama in any other? Do you want an honest answer? Do you want the yearbook answer or you want an honest answer? Because the league is extremely petty and jealous, and because the commissioner is in a no-win spot, but she also created this firestorm. Because, again, the commissioner can't sit there and say CC's the face of the league because players will go up in arms. She can't say Wilson's the player of the league because players will go. She's in a no-win spot. But she needed a little more PR advice. And if you go back the last several years, the officiating has really been bad. It's only been magnified because of what happened between Caitlin Clark and Thomas. And now everyone's coming out of the woodwork. She's the most fouled player. She doesn't get the call. She's going to crash and burn on the floor. She's a ticking time bomb. You don't know what she meant to the league. Well, the commissioner, she said the other day in the panel, she mentioned Diana Taurasi. She didn't even have Lobo, Taurasi, Deladon, Caitlin Clark on the 30th commemorative poster. What does that tell you? That tells you all you need to know. You can't serve two masters. She's trying to do that. She's trying to do that. You're a little kid and all of a sudden mommy says no. What do? You run to daddy. You're thinking he's going to say yes. You're playing each other against each other. That's exactly what you're doing. We've all been there. Can I get one more cookie? No. Can I go outside and play? No. What do? You have a hissy fit. You start friggin' crying and then you run to daddy and daddy says, yeah, 20 more minutes. Yeah, grab another cookie for the road. The players are playing her against each other. And she is playing the players against each other. And there we have, then we have the nonsense and the divide. That's it. Skiing chimes in. I've never been called a racist until Trump was elected. Now I'm called a racist on a daily basis. I'm tired of it. I'm not even Republican because I have right skin. Well, listen, President, wherever you hang your hat, and you guys vote for whoever you want to vote for, he's a divisive figure, and he's a polarizing figure. But I know what you're saying. It's like you're lumped into that. That's painting the broad stroke, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Nobody wants to be called that. It's like that's a strong term, man. Like, if you're going to go out and say something like that, you damn well better back it up. If you start calling players only by their number, that will be called rape. Now, that's a pet peeve of mine. I was broadcasting a league, and I checked out one of their games, and it was overseas, and the broadcasters had no knowledge of how to pronounce because a lot of the names were they were from Thai. So they had a lot of Thai last names, Filipino last names, and they were very hard to pronunciate. And I butcher a lot of stuff on the air. But I wanted to make sure I pronounced them the right way. But I went back and I listened to a couple of the games, and they just refused to call the player by their last name. They instead went by the number, which I think is actually even more disrespectful, to be quite honest with you. But I know what you're saying in tongue-in-cheek. I get it. But to me, I was like, man, I mean, some of these names, wow. I would actually hit up the players on Instagram and I would send them an audio, a voice audio. And then I said, if I pronounce it correctly, just give me a thumbs up. Or I would try to figure out phonetically how to do it because it was really hard. And plus, I'm calling these games at 12 o'clock at night. 6 straight games, 6 straight hours, 7+ hours on the air. Can't even get up and go to the bathroom. Straight through. Names were tough, man. I'm telling you. Peter was a challenge. It was a challenge. I'm sure that Clark has private security protecting her when she's out in public. WNBA arena should be checking fans. Well, it's why, good point, David. It's why a lot of them now, they came up with the team charter flights because they don't want the players roaming along by themselves. They don't. Because there are goofy people out there. Man, you guys are really taking it to another level today, are you? Whew. I mean, I wanted the comments. I didn't think I was going to stoke. Brenner's now doing the morning show. WOW took over. Mike McConnell, who went to UD with Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick, University of Dayton. Kevin, I told you I had a cup of coffee in Ohio. News Talk 1290 WHIO. I also mentioned one of the reasons that Silver was pissed off the other day is because she blew off the interview with Dan Patrick, and Silver's pretty tight with Dan Patrick. Connect the dots. Yeah, I'm not comparing those two. Jackie Robinson. Let's just leave it at that. Right? Man, you guys are really... I'm trying to pull up like basketball related comments and I can't find any more. Did we go off the beaten path? There we go. Shauna chimes in. 45-10. Best game I've seen. Newman, I like that one. 824. CC not the MVP. That's Cap. I like how, you love having the flowers, the shine, the Cap. It's going to be debatable. I don't think she's going to win the MVP, but all I said is this. If she goes on a run of 28-10 and they win 10 out of the next 12, she will be in the conversation. We know right now Wilson is the heavy betting favorite. Buckets is right there. Miles is right there from the Lynx. And then Clark is right there. You got 4 or 5 players. Now, Mitchell's coming on strong. Don't get me wrong. Am I allowed to say she's been a beast? She's been balling. She's been unbelievable. She's been unbelievable, man. I mean, when they needed her last night, she was making shots. It's one of the reasons I still love them in transition. Get out and run. But Mitchell, she was getting hers last night. Big time. She had a phenomenal game. And you get Boston back on the floor. You saw what she was able to do. Mitchell, 10 of 14, 4 of 6. I call that friggin' efficient. She got to the line 13 times, 33 and 32. Phenomenal. New York stinks. They're not a good basketball team. They're not. Stewart's a really nice player. And I like Jones. But they're not a good team. And, Indiana figures out ways to fall behind, then they're going to come back, and it's a make or miss league. Their defense, the perimeter defense is still an issue. They're going to have to clean that up come the trade deadline. Let me close out with a couple more. By the way, World Cup at 3 o'clock, if anyone cares. That's all. I'm just saying. Oh, man. Shots are fired. Shots are fired. You know what? I love it. You're right. I also hate adults using cringe and I don't say cringe. I say goofy. Is that okay, Pete? I don't say weird. I say goofy. But I don't say cringe. I don't even like to say, the shine and the flowers. It's like, hey man, just give them their due. Give them their just props. Oh man, you guys are too much. Let me see. All right, here we go. Newman with the MVP. All right, we got to start wrapping it up. You guys are funny, man. I mean, wow. Not counting last night. Recalculated CC stats by the minute. 3rd in scoring, 1st in assist among guards, 5th in rebounds, 8 in blocks. We're just going to get the calls from the ref, even the ones she doesn't deserve. But that's the whole league. Is it not? Right? Let me see. At least you're honest enough to admit I'm not against you. Brondello should not be suspended, but CC MVP this year is a stretch, man. If she goes on a run, if, 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 if she goes on a run, how about, wow, Jeff, that is a mix and a half, brother. Wow. That's fantastic. I actually wanted you guys to chime in and let me know where you are, but some of you guys are actually chiming in with your nationality, that's fine with me. I love it. The engagement is great. I threw out a couple simple questions today. Oh man. Sports is disgusting. It's been hijacked. Mike in Ohio chimes in 1290 Q, 1290 WHIO. Yes, that's correct. WHIO. It snowed in September. That's when I knew I was done. Sean, a little feisty today, boy. Am I allowed to call you guys feisty? I said yesterday that you guys were animals and beasts with the comments. Did anyone take offense to that? I'm just saying. Did anyone take offense to that? Tanya, all my pleasure. I appreciate that. Listen, I just ask when you guys chime in. I see like 500 comments. I can't even get to them. This week, we'll get into the MVP conversation. We'll get into it. We'll all kind of state this is what we'll do. We will, now, hey, listen, hey, T, I'm just saying, when I sit there and say you guys are beast and animals, man, that means you're coming at it, and I love it. We'll do the MVP conversation. We'll do that. We'll kind of look at the league, and you guys will state your case, and we'll argue back and forth, and we'll try to play nice, right? And we'll have fun with it. But as I said, you guys are unbelievable. Don't forget, we're on the Odyssey app. I take all the audio. It's on Spotify, Amazon. Even for those that called me what do we got here? Yeah, I'm telling you, T is like commenter of the day, man. Feisty. Just coming at. She's definitely, a lot of you guys are cooking today, man. I don't want to play favorites, Pete. I don't want to play favorites. A lot of you guys are cooking. But once the show ends, you guys can comment away. I threw out a couple questions online as well. But this week, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are going to look into second half of the season, and we'll debate MVP. You guys, it'll be like a state of the address, state of the WNBA. I'm not going to be the commish. I won't be Humperdinck, but you guys can state your case on who you think is going to be the MVP. So that's your homework assignment, right? That's your homework assignment. That's what you guys need to do. Sergeant Delaware, Q, I'm spitting on my coffee. You're too much. Hey, listen, that's fine with me. I don't mind that. T and Clearwater chimes in Q. I can't believe someone called you an idiot on the air. Hey, listen, I can tell you this. As long as you guys don't attack the commenters. I mean, Reese from Philly, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? You at church on a Sunday? We're almost 2 hours in, Reese. Come on, what are we doing? Talking WNBA. We were in your alley, man. We were right in your alley. As long as you guys are just respectful, you come at me all you want. I don't care. But at least, again, what do we got there? Since you want to know where I'm at, hey, Maria told me, I think you said you were half Puerto Rican, half Italian, right? Listen, there is a lot of feistiness, and I love this. I love that the commenters, okay? I love the fact that you guys have all different backgrounds and you all bring something unique to the table and a different perspective. That's why I do what I do. I want to hear from you. I want you guys to engage. Now, sometimes, let's just friggin' call for what it is. The shit has basically gone off the rails, okay? But we know that, okay? I did, Rich, and I was very offended by it only because I was feeling sensitive. Hell no. No, I mean, come on, man. Are you kidding me? Come on. Jose. All right, MVP conversation later in the week. I don't know if you guys are watching the World Cup at 3. I know I will be locked in. If anything breaks, check out the channel. We are going to start diving more into the NFL, so all my football heads out there, my football fans, we do that multiple times during the week. We're breaking down all the NFL divisions. So maybe tomorrow or Tuesday, we'll do like a MVP. of the league, right? As a woman, I'd love to see other women be great, have swag and confidence and trash talk. That's fun. 100%. 100%. Let me get back to the comment. Hold on. What do we got here? We got to get back. NBA is exhausting. I'm not helping. It's not helping women. It's not. But we're still going to have to debate the MVP. That's all. But you're right. You want to go out and you want to watch and you want to enjoy, right? I love you guys. I get guys from Australia, Canada, New York, Puerto Rico, Caribbean. I got some of my Channel 82 Bermuda audience that's been finding me on here. I don't know what the hell Reese was doing, man. I have no idea. What the hell you were doing. Oh, man. You guys are too much. You guys are really too much. That's funny. And you guys don't do me a favor though too. Listen. Yes, good luck to Espana. Mixed. All right, there we go. Now you guys are throwing the national. I told you guys, you can let guys get at me. You don't need to jump on them. It's all in good fun, man. Don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm mixed. I'm protected. You're ridiculous. We'll break down NFL divisions. More of this divisive crap. Rich, do better. What? Hold on a second, man. I had it. That's my tease. That's my segue. I've been on the air for over 2 hours. That's my segue. I didn't know if anyone was going to catch that. All right, hey, here we go. Gay, straight, black, white, beast, not a beast, animal. Here we go. Protected species. Let's run it. Oh, by the way, we're going to do some NFL divisions later on. Oh, man, I'm sorry. That's an old radio adage, man. We gotta slip it in there. That's all. We just have to slip it in there. Thank you. I'm glad I found the channel. Thank you guys. You always, you guys are great. Ashley, just, I'll tell you, man, bringing it today. Bringing it. I didn't think anyone in this chat thinks CC is the MVP. No, never said that. This is what I said to close it out. Thanks, Ash. I want to see a run of games. Like right here, ponder this for tomorrow or Tuesday. Right now, if you look at the odds, Wilson's right there. But just follow me. And I know some of you guys hate when I say that. Follow me for a second. Have you seen the run that KM's been on over the last 10 to 12 games? She's been unreal. She's been unreal. She's playing at a high level. Now, you can nitpick all you want. You can talk about shot selection. You can talk about she's a chucker, whatever. Whatever. She's on a run. Her numbers are ridiculously gaudy for the month of July. And she was absolutely, I'm going to say it, she was a beast. In June, she was phenomenal. So I don't see right now, I'm pulling up with a couple of the apps. Let me see. I mean, I don't even see, that's crazy. She's averaging 27 per game over her last 10, and yet I'm looking at some of these books, and I don't even see, they don't even have her posted. Now, I'm not condoning it. But right now, she's at plus 7,500 to 1,250. According to whatever book, wherever you hang your hat. She's averaging 23, but Wilson is making a mockery out of the league. But look at the run that Mitchell is on right now. What if this team wins 8 out of the next 9 out of 10, right? And she's still averaging 25, 26, and Wilson stubs her toe, and she starts to struggle a little bit. Like, seriously, that's why you look at these odds, they're so fluid. Like in the NFL, you can't sit there and say an MVP after 5 weeks. But if the conversation is tight by week 10 or 12, that's typically when the quarterbacks separate themselves. So, yeah, you look at Wilson, phenomenal year right now. She's averaging 25, but I think Mitchell's right around 23.3. I mean, okay, center, guard, fine. You talk about the double-double, the rebounds. Wilson's unbelievable around the rim. We know that. She's the Windex woman, not lady, man. She's the Windex woman. She's unbelievable. But just kind of keep an eye on that. That's all I'm saying. Oh, no, of course not. I know that. I know you guys are all good. You're all good. Trust me, I get the humor because you guys are sick and twisted like I am, so that's fine. I definitely get it. You guys are too much. All right. Do me a favor. Tomorrow, or like I said, Tuesday, we will definitely go over, we'll have fun, man. We'll debate the WNBA MVP up to this point. We'll talk a little second half. And Pete, I want you to know, and some of you guys, yes, the NFL talk will continue on cue right here. Rich Quinones, we're powered by our good friends. If you guys like coffee, coffee's on me, 20% your first purchase. Check out in the show links. You guys are phenomenal. Again, on a Sunday, hanging with me for over 2 hours. I got my fresh roasted coffee right here. No hot toddy. Thank you very much. I see Jose in Camden. This is black coffee, my friend. Nothing else. There's nothing else in that, Jose, okay? Tu sabes? You know. All right. So, you guys have a wonderful... Hey, Reese, I'm glad you're protected, brother. You guys have a wonderful Sports Sunday. And again, enjoy the conversation always. And good stuff with the comments. Good stuff with the engagement. And we're going to keep doing this. Like I said, we're also going to be on other platforms. YouTube is where we live right now, but we're also on SR 1029 FM The Game. The gambling pod called Back Your Play airs in New York on WWON. We've got our Overseas Dimes podcast, so check that out as well. But if you guys like the content, the best you can do is just subscribe. And hit me up on social. Hit me up at RichQ on Q. I'll post it up for you right now. At RichQ on Q on X, IG. If you're sensitive on TikTok, I post a lot of videos, and the comments on TikTok, they're not G-rated. They're not PG-13. They're pretty nasty sometimes with the commenters. So just have the thick skin. Don't worry about it. But at RichQ on Q, RichQ on the mic, Instagram, I post a lot. Hit me up on Facebook. You know, shoot me an email. All my contact information's in the page, in the channel. And yeah, man, let's just keep rolling along. We want to go full tilt. We want to go full tilt with football right around the corner for those that actually like the sport of football. But every time you guys comment in, like I said, keep it clean, be respectful. Let me know where you're commenting in. And now we can play a new game. We can know everyone's nationality going forward. Maybe we'll make a whole segment of that. Who knows? We'll have a little fun with it. So, all right. You guys have a good Sports Sunday. As always, this has been All Q. Keep the comments coming. Hit me up on social. Like, comment, and subscribe. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Everyone play nice on this Sunday. Play nice. Go out. Enjoy the nice weather. World Cup at 3. Send me some good juju from España against Argentina, Messi, and hopefully the refs are not in the bag. And we will be back in the saddle on a Monday. And if you're new to Monday's show, it's a Man Up Monday. So if you make a proclamation over the weekend on Friday, you got to man up. But we add a little tweak to it. It's a Mentiroso Lunes, Locador de Radio, Man Up Monday edition of On Q. As always, I'm Rich Quinones. Be safe, be sound. Hasta luego en día.